Welcome back to LillyJayGames. Today I'm going to be starting another series on the channel where I'm going to be doing the downhill rally course, as I have decided to call it. What that means is we'll be starting up here at this intersection, exactly where the car is parked, running down along this route across these bridges. Now, this is incredibly steep, incredibly windy, and a lot of these corners can get very, very tricky. You see, as it comes along this bridge here, the car is going to be building up a lot of speed, even though it is a turn. Into this corner means you really need to brake hard. There's a bit of a runoff zone, but if your car gets it slightly wrong, it's either going to roll or clip those rocks over there, neither being the ideal answer. Then as it continues down here, you really want to start to get on the power, but if you get on the power too soon, you're either going to clip the edge of this bridge or the inside of the bridge. Again, not ideal. Now, if you get that correct, you continue on down this way into what I'm calling the bridge pin. This is going to kill many a car, because if you try and clip the apex, you go into the hole. But if you go too wide, you hit the wall. Either option will end that run. As it continues down the road, once you get past that hairpin, you start to build up a bunch of speed. It's really easy to carry too much speed into this corner here. If you clip this rock wall, you're going over there. You cut too short, you're going over there. As you continue down here, again, easy to carry too much speed down here because it looks really nice and easy. But again, everything is downhill, which means you're building up so much speed the whole time that you could end up going out wide, running these rocks. Or your car might get a little bit sideways, slamming you into one of the two barriers on the bridge. Or you might just slam into the bridge barrier. Once past that, you come across this bridge, and the car then has to make sure it can get slowed down. The braking point of this is about halfway across this bridge, which is very deceptive because it seems like you'd want to be carrying more speed. However, you need to get slowed down before you come up to the highway entrance. So this hairpin, incredibly sharp. You see, you're sweeping, and then you immediately have to get turned around. Now, there is a little bit of runoff onto the highway, but not as much as, you really want to use. Hopefully, you can get a lot of the cars quickly through that corner, and then it's a straight speed down this part of the highway. However, as fast as it looks like you can be there, you don't want to get going too fast, otherwise you're not going to get slowed down to turn onto the dirt. Too slow and you're wasting time. Too fast and you're going to be eating those rocks or flying off the edge here. Once through there, there's this hairpin over here. The dirt hairpin can be very hard due to the fact that not only is the surface no longer asphalt, but there's also, again, a whole lot of steepness going on. Then it's a run across the dirt through this bit here, which isn't an overly difficult section. However, due to the difference in terrain, it can get a little difficult for some of the vehicles. This water spot, probably not going to claim too many cars. However, it is just a slow down before it has to turn onto this left, climb back up this little road here, and the line will be over here at this little shack. overall, the run is difficult enough while still being mostly tarmac. And we'll give a lot of these cars a good run for their money, starting up here and winding all the way down through here. I'm expecting a lot of cars to struggle with the bridge pin, the highway entry pin, and the dirty hairpin. The rest of it is just going to be a matter of whether the car can take speed and brake properly. So, due to some audio issues, I won't be able to have the sound for the car for this one, but the first car will be the Rally Sunburst. It's the gravel spec version. That does have some issues that we'll run into later on. But hey, you know, whatever. I do love the Sunburst, though I have a custom version that doesn't have turbo or the manual the way it does. The version I use has traction control and stuff. But due to the fact that the gravel spec, it does have a certain set of qualities, being that the brakes are quite sharp and that it really doesn't have traction on the asphalt as well as some other vehicles. So you'll notice I have a whole lot of crashes. Oh, and the music is courtesy of No Copyright Sounds, a channel that, if you go look it up, they have loads of great songs from a bunch of awesome artists. All the links will be down in the description below. I keep locking up the brakes as I keep trying to drive this car, and I'm trying to drive it, you know, to its full potential. Then we just roll it. You know, I honestly wasn't sure if a car would roll there, and then the very first one I ended up rolling it numerous times. Just hanging off the outside of the bridge there. I thought it was doing alright, and then, well, it started having some steering problems, which would then make it steer a little too far in and do a nice little spin there, but not done yet. Have to go down the mountainside because, you know, if you're gonna crash, let's really kill it, right? The car actually still worked after all of that amazingly, but the roll cages really do make these cars stiff. Again, rolling it, but it was mostly alright. And here we got past the bridge pin, we got running down here. The car was doing pretty good, and then the brakes locked up, sent it sliding into the side of the bridge where it lost the back end of the car. Looking pretty good there. Again, we come down, more braking into that first corner. That first corner, due to how steep that hill is, it's just, you could carry so much speed and you'd end up rolling so many times. I actually cut out lots of sections of me just rolling it there and rolling it there. Going off the inside even. Again, the car locked up the brakes, ended up tagging the bridge. Those bridges were killer. This was coming up onto the highway where I kind of decided I wanted to make my own track, but Karma was not going to let that slide as I came across the highway, tried to get on the brakes a little too late, and ended up eating some rocks. I noticed cars don't eat rocks very well, so the car's not going to go anywhere. We are, again, coming up to the bridge pin, and the car just locked up, went inside, I really didn't think I was going to catch that because I was so worried about going in there, but I was trying to push the car so hard it just ends up going for a major tumble. But again, the roll cage makes these cars extra stiff. Let me just roll the car back over, see if it still works, and sure enough, it'll still drive. Not the best, but still works. A whole lot of camber going on in the back of that now, though. Here we are, coming up here. Decide I want to go for a flight and then start breakdancing with the car instead of actually finishing the run. You know, still doing some breakdancing because, you know, breakdancing cars is amazing. Also lost a wheel there. I didn't really lose a whole lot of wheels on any of the 3 cars I took. Here it goes again, coming through the corner. Ended up a little bit too wide, which sent me heading inward. Clipped the bridge again. It's a common thing of ending up locking up the brakes. And going for a nice tumble here. We roll on down. It actually landed back on its wheels, amazingly. So I think one of them ran away on me. Here we go again. Heading up towards that bridge pin, and do we get a lockup? Nope, but we do try an initial D it around the corner, and as awesome as that was, I really wanted to try and finish that. Ended up out too wide. Rocks took off the back of my car again. And roll down the hill, because, you know, for good measure, always have to roll. We go coming up into the speedy area here, and just again running out a little bit too wide because I'm trying to carry all that speed. End up doing some spinning. Overall not too bad, but you can see the smoke coming out of the engine because it took a massive hit. Again, brakes getting off, ping the bridge a little bit. It's like, it's not too bad, let me continue on. Tap the bridge again, which then caused later on me to get a huge slide, though I'd totally forgotten about tapping the bridge. I thought the car was doing perfectly okay. It really didn't affect the car that much. It was just a minor pull. Got a huge slide again, and well, karma was not going to allow me to actually survive with this one. So we lock up the brakes, go a little too far, no problem, it's fine. You know, it's still running perfectly okay. Let's head on down this way. And at this point, the damage has become enough to where the car just doesn't want to turn enough and ends up going for a drink. It still didn't look that bad, all things considered, but it just was not going to let me have a good run. Now, I had a few runs where I cut on the inside of there, but that run just decided time for a spinning flight, and yeah, no survival there. Again, I kept trying to cut on the inside to keep the momentum and the speed up. Just not having any of it. The wheel's pretty out of shape at this point, but I mean, it's not too bad. It was still driving pretty alright. Heading up into this way, maintaining good control. Little bit of struggle turning, and this is where it really sent the car around. You can just see that the steering was so badly beat up. It didn't feel like it was that badly bent, but you know. Going down this way was also incredibly common. I'd either end up locking up the brakes and going up the mountain to the right, or trying to catch it and going off the side of the cliff to the left. But I did eventually manage to get a finishing run with the car. Sadly, not as good as I would like. You'll see that a little bit later, but it did make it, all things considering. Yeah, this was one of those areas where you want to be real careful because you're still going downhill. But because everything is downhill, some of it doesn't seem as steep as it really is. This part, again, way easy to carry too much speed. Come up here, and you really wanted to be careful. The problem with this car was the fact that, and I realized it later on, the gravel spec really made it so it just did not have the traction it needed on the asphalt, which left it sliding every time you touch the brakes, and the brakes are so sharp, it locks up so easily. Again, I cut so many crashes out. I think I ran this car for about 35 minutes before I managed to actually get a good run out of it. So there were so many times where I just ended up off a cliff or flipped over. Once it got onto the dirt, though, the car had no problem. The loose terrain out here really didn't make too much of a difference. After all, it is a rally car. It's kind of designed for this thing, but that's why I chose it. I thought it was going to be good overall. It got a little bit loose back here on the dirt, but the water doesn't really cause too much of a problem. Now, I was so happy that I'd managed to get this far. I turned in a little too sharp, trying to do a little bit of fancy drifting into there. Ended up eating the tree, but the car's totally fine. It can continue. Wasn't going to let it stop me, especially after this many times. Now, here I thought it was over. Nope, car lands back on its wheels. Totally okay. I said, forget it. I just want to get this done. I'll probably come back to this car later on, but we come across the line there, and it manages to make it. Surprisingly, smashing head-on into a tree did not stop the car at all. I think the car even just wanted to be done at this point. I did actually try a few times after this to get a clean run, but I could not get past the upper part of the mountain. The next car we have here is the race spec Grand Marshal. You'll hear the audio is back, fortunately. I really don't know why the last one lost it, but it's alright. This car is amazing. Brand new specifications that they added for the Grand Marshal. Otherwise, they had pretty basic ones, slightly more powerful, but nothing crazy. Now it's got superchargers and a drag version. So I went with the race version, expecting it to be more manageable. And the car has a lot of grip, and the brakes were surprisingly good. I honestly expected the car to struggle a lot all throughout, but it has good turn-in, it's got good power. It'll still spin on you, but you have to be careful. Again, I tried to push it too much into that corner, and then I was trying to get back on the throttle to let the car run. But at this point, I believe the side was a little bit damaged, wouldn't turn well enough, ended up eating a rock. Really gotta stop trying to feed rocks to cars. It just really doesn't work. I mean, the engine works totally fine, considering it ate a rock. Here we go, tried to get going down in here again, locked up the brakes, ended up getting onto the power too much, went into the hole. I didn't think I would put so many cars into this hole, but already the first 2 vehicles have gone into the bridge pin. We managed to get it to the dirt. The car didn't really take that many runs, scraped the back a little bit. As you would expect, a track-oriented version of a vehicle is not very good on dirt. On top of that, you're talking about a supercharged V8 going to the rear wheels. It did not like the dirt. So thought too much, spun. Here we have another run. I got too much on the power, managed to get it back around and hit the mountain. Overall, the car was alright, but I think the engine might have been a bit damaged at that point. You know, losing traction with a rear-wheel drive car, real common thing. Engine ended up shutting off. We have another shot, went out too wide, ate a tree. I had a lot of hope for this car. This run, I made it all the way through the course. You see here, I'm right at the last turn. So happy, like, it's made it. It's done a great job. No damage to the car whatsoever. I may not have seen that wrap there. Then I tried to back across the line. I said, hey, if the Sunburst gets a little bit of damage, why not have this car have a little bit of fun? And it just would not drive. That rock messed up the front of the car so badly, it would not go in any direction I wanted it to. Trying again on the highway bit, brakes locked up, ended up clipping the bridge. Really wanted to get a good run through from this car, especially since it really didn't take a whole lot of time. You're getting to see basically every run here and clip the inside. That's never gonna work. Though it's great for pictures, you know, either side you have a perfect view. You want straight wheels, turned wheels, it's all good. Here we pinged the bridge, couldn't turn, ended up in the barrier. Yeah, definitely not going to be going much further with that one. But, again, didn't really take too much time. Got a really good run out of the car. And, you know, the biggest thing with this car is mostly just the fact that it does have quite a bit of power that it can put down, but it's all to the rear of the car, and you don't want to be, you know, too hard on the gas. I really thought that was never going to work right there. I kept trying to get the car to slide, but it didn't want to have any of that. This area really didn't give this car too much trouble. The tarmac was honestly where this car shined. Most of the issues with the car were me just trying to push it a little too hard in certain areas. But, I mean, it just has no issues. And the brakes were surprisingly good, considering this car is pretty heavy and, you know. But we managed to get it stopped, get onto the dirt, pretty smooth, but of course the dirt wants to give the car some trouble, and not wanting to overdo it coming down this hill, didn't give it too much. You can just feel the back of the car wanting to throw itself around on you. And even the slightest touch of the throttle. Did manage to get it moving pretty well on the dirt though, and staying stable. We've got it going, what, 50 back here, just about, or 45. The water, for whatever reason, made this car just go to nothing. I don't know why the water hit this car so hard. I had it happen when I almost finished the previous time as well. It hits the water and just wants to stop. Just being real careful, didn't want to pull a sunburst up here. Nice and tidy as much as I can. Seeing the finish line, trying to get it around, and the car spins, but does in fact cross the line right there. So, you know, not too bad. A little celebratory donut, or trying to do some donuts. Overall, The race spec of the Grand Marshal is an amazing version. I really like what they did with the Grand Marshal modifications. Here we have the final car this time around is the Trashcan, or a three-wheeled pickup truck hauling a trash can. It's, I really expected this to take a long time. I expected this car to roll over every time I tried to turn, but it didn't want to have any of that. It actually wanted to stay a lot more stable. Part of that mostly due to the fact that the vehicle's not overly fast. But I expected the fact that it was all going downhill to give it that extra speed boost to really flip it over. I mean, it did try and tip, but it actually stayed stable. Maybe the trash can was keeping the back actually kind of more balanced or so. We did roll it here. Again, just like the Grand Marshal, you get to see every single crash that happened with this vehicle because there weren't that many. So we got it. I thought I was going to recover it. Oh no, it has other plans. Let's go for a spin. It did land on its wheels, but the front end is a little bit beat up. You can see the engine smoking here. Definitely not going to be running very well. Really, it did not take that many runs. You see, it only took a couple, and already the vehicle is, you know, going for its run. This is also the run where it occurred to me, I really wasn't sure if this car could even handle the dirt. As I clipped into the dirt and realized this thing's low, slow, and is it gonna even be able to climb? Using the front end as a stopper from rolling over is always a fantastic idea, by the way. Now, the bridge pin, I definitely had to be careful with it. I did not want to overdo it. Overall, the vehicle actually managed to carry a surprising amount of speed. I mean, sure, it's only going, you know, like 60. A little two-wheel action the whole way around that corner, though. But it's doing, what, 50 as it's doing this entire little section. Sure, not the 80, 100 miles an hour that the other two are doing, but it's not too bad. And this was honestly kind of a pleasure to drive, just because it was so calm. But I really did expect it to roll over a lot more. I guess the trash can was keeping it planted, but I expected the trash can to actually make it tip over more. Reaching 57, coming down here up to the dirty hairpin. Now, I really wanted to be careful coming up to this turn because, again, we're going downhill. This thing is typically very tippy, but no, it was totally fine. I also had no idea how it was going to deal with the dirt. I was really concerned about this, but it was having no problems whatsoever. Granted, it's also only going 35, where the others were going just about 50. It also occurred to me, what happens when this hits the water? The water killed the Grand Marshal. Oh, the pigeon says whatever. Then again, the question of can it even make it? It has no problem. It has enough power to get wherever it needs to go, but certainly not enough power to really do anything crazy. and it's an easy, casual drive for the Pigeon. I try to do a little bit of celebratory donuts here, but the Pigeon is having none of it. But here we have the lap times, so I'll have to reorganize that. But the Grand Marshal made it in 2:27.48. The Rally Sunburst with a 2:33.07, and the Trashcan with a 3:12.95. Those are just the first three vehicles, so we don't really know if that's great or not. But I'll see y'all next time. Have a great one.